Did I scare you?
Hello, welcome to The Wild Review and The Wild Reviewer, and welcome to day 7 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days, the cartoon specials. Well, we talked about Rugrats a while back. Today we're going to talk about them all grown up. To my surprise, and I'm only saying this as like an adult looking back on the show, I'm very surprised that All Grown Up had a very successful run. It ran for about 5 seasons. I mean, typically, if this sort of thing was done now, the show would be on very thin ice in terms of being very successful or not, because it's very rare that spin-offs or continuations of shows as the characters grow up, it's very rare that they do actually go very far and have their own little franchise of their own. I say that, and yet here we are in a timeline where the Jessie spinoff lasted longer than Jessie, and Boy Meets World spinoff had a pretty decent run, and The Big Bang Theory had a spinoff that now has its own spinoff, and that spinoff did very well. So you know what, just screw what I just said, because obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. All Grown Up was very impressive. That's what I'm trying to say. It was an interesting idea. All Grown Up was a spin-off of Rugrats that aired from 2003 to 2008. The show aged the Rugrat characters up to 10 years and focused on their lives as young preteens and teenagers, going through challenges and issues as they continued to get older. In 2004, the Christmas special, The Finster Who Stole Christmas, premiered, and saw Chucky taking a thrown-out Christmas tree for himself and his dad so they could finally have a great family Christmas tree. However, Chucky learns that Christmas tree wasn't being thrown out after all, and ultimately labels him as a thief. Now he has to figure out how to undo his crime. So I'd seen a good amount of Rugrats. I definitely watched it every time it was on. When it came to All Grown Up, though, I can't say that I watched it as much as I did Rugrats, but I had seen a good amount of All Grown Up. I remember a good amount of episodes from the show. I, oddly enough, don't remember seeing the Christmas episode. I didn't see it until just a few years ago when I bought that Nicktoons collection iTunes thing that I told you about. Remember I told you I purchased that? That's where I saw the episode. But I had heard of the Christmas episode, and the idea for All Grown Up as a whole, I thought it was really fascinating. To me, it was the first time anything like that had been done to a television show, but it's also a very unique and very fitting idea for Rugrats. I remember seeing the All Grown Up episode of Rugrats that essentially served as a backdoor pilot for a potential All Grown Up spinoff, which obviously happened. And I remember that being one of my favorite Rugrat episodes just because it was very unique and different. We had not gotten something like that before. Finally, after so long, we have the kids talking to the grown-ups. Like, that must have felt really weird for everybody on the show, and the writers actually writing dialogue for Tommy to have a conversation with his parents. So I gotta give a lot of credit for the team behind Rugrats and All Grown Up, the fact that they actually managed to do it. And I guess technically, if you were to count All Grown Up, Rugrats definitely was one of the longest running Nickelodeon shows. Definitely not as long as SpongeBob, but it probably would have beat The Fairly Odd Parents, going from 1991 when it started and then 2008 when All Grown Up ended. That's 17 years! Did The Fairly... you know what? The Fairly Odd Parents may have also had a lengthy... When did they end? Now I'm gonna have to look this up. Anyway, The Finster Who Stole Christmas is a Christmas special, and it's fine. It's not one of my personal favorites, though. But I think it's a cute idea. There's nothing super special about the episode, honestly, to me. There's no comparison I could do with any other Rugrat episode, especially a Christmas episode, especially because they're very different. This is also the only All Grown Up episode, so I'm just kind of stuck talking about this one. The one main thing I noticed from the episode, which I don't know if anybody else picked up on, there's no Angelica in this episode, and I found that really interesting. I feel like it's weird not having Angelica in a Rugrats story. But to be fair, what would she do? What would she be able to do in this episode? I feel like nobody really had anything to do in this episode other than Chucky. This was a Chucky Finster episode. Tommy, who is essentially the main character in all the Rugrats stuff, him and Dill were making a Hanukkah song. And that itself, I feel like, didn't get a lot of attention towards it. I feel like it was just, hey, let's make a song about Hanukkah. Okay. And then we just saw little clips of them doing it, and then we heard the song at the very end, which was catchy. There's also another subplot that kind of happens with Kimmy and her mom trying to get back home for the holidays. That happens. There's nothing super special about this episode. I mean, not every Christmas special has to be absolutely fantastic, nor does it have to be a favorite of mine, especially if it's a Nickelodeon one. But I thought it was fine. You know, it's fine. That's what I have to say. Now, like I already mentioned, I said it a few times, this is one of the episodes that's part of that iTunes package that I bought, and I feel that if that episode wasn't on there and the Jimmy Neutron one was, I would have a really great iTunes purchase. I could watch The Finster Who Stole Christmas, but if I never saw it again, I also wouldn't be super bothered by it. That's just how I feel about it. It's fine. Have I said that yet? It's fine. I should say the last thing I'll say about it, it was very predictable seeing where the episode was going to go the second Chucky took the tree away. It wasn't very surprising that somebody afterward was like, honey, where'd our tree go? Where is it? And Chuck kept singing, Oh Christmas Tree. I mean, it got annoying after a while. And that's it. That's all I gotta say on that. The Finster Who Stole Christmas, right now, it's kind of at the bottom of all these other Nicktoons specials, but it's still enjoyable. Some people may really like it. I think it's fine. So, you know, if you love this episode, cool. I hope you enjoy watching it every year. We all have our favorites. This one isn't just one of mine. And with that, that completes day 7 of this Christmas mini-series, and we're gonna make our way over to day 8, which will be our final trip down Nickelodeon Lane. I know, look at all the friends that we've made, I know, and look, we haven't talked about any of their Christmas specials, I know, we're not going to talk about any of theirs. You know why? Because I gotta keep the ball moving. I said I'm not doing Nick Jr. But tomorrow's it. Tomorrow is the final Nicktoon that I will be talking about before we move on to a completely different network, because we got a few other networks we gotta hit. Just like Santa flying over to each house, we gotta fly over to a different network and give other shows a chance. And you might be wondering what show I'll talk about tomorrow, and that will probably be revealed to you at the end card. But to give you an idea, this show is still relatively new. We're going to be hitting 10 years that the show's been around. It has surprisingly become a new classic of the network, so much that, just like SpongeBob, I think they're milking it too much. But I can definitely confirm that this show definitely gave me a bit more faith when it comes to Nickelodeon animation, and that faith did not last very long. Pack your bags, we're gonna go to Michigan. That's where the show takes place. Thanks for watching The Wild Review on The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.